Alright, today we're going to talk about servicing your air conditioner for the summer. The basic things that you can do to help the efficiency by cleaning it, and also to hopefully not have any breakdowns through the hot summer months. It's your go-to guy for your DIY and more. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on the Facebook and YouTube. Okay, servicing your air conditioner. The first thing I want to talk about is how does it work? Right here, as you look through here, it's a coil. It looks very similar to the radiator on your car. And so what happens is inside the home, the thermostat, you say you got it set for 72 degrees, you want your home at 72 degrees. Well, that will have a little switch on it when the thermostat is at 73, say. It'll close the switch, send power, 24 volt power, out to the unit, which therefore pulls a contactor that pulls it shut and allows 220 power to go to the unit and start it running. So once it starts running, you'll hear a motor and a fan that's right here will start turning. Well, what's that doing? Well, that is cooling the refrigerant. So air is coming through the coil, radiator in your car, and then it pulls it through here and blows it upwards. So one thing that you're checking every season before you clean it, you're checking to make sure there's nothing growing up around it, like grass too tall, weeds, anything like that. We also don't want anything above it. So believe it or not, I've seen these installed under a deck, and there goes your efficiency because the air goes up and all it does is circulate back down. Well, that's warmer air and it's doing this, it starts circulating. So you want it to blow and just kind of, go away from the unit, and it's always getting the coolest air it possibly can. And so that's how it's working. So it's cooling the refrigerant, and then the lines that's attached to the unit go inside the home. There's two of them, a bigger one and a smaller one. They go in the home and are attached to what they call a coil on top, very much like a radiator again, on top of the furnace. And the furnace blows the air past that coil through it and then throughout your ductwork in your home, and therefore you're getting cool air. Well, that refrigerant is going back and forth. It's just going in, going out, going in. So inside it's actually collecting heat, and then out here it cools it back down. So the refrigerant actually thinks that it's really hot, where we feel it's really cold. So that's really how basic an air conditioner works. Okay, so the first thing for safety that I like to do, and you should too, so we want to get in there. Now there's a couple different styles. This is actually a really nice one. It's a fuse disconnect, and it even has these little lights that can indicate whether the fuses are working, things like that. So this is actually a nice one, but you just grab this handle, see, and you just give it a pull, set it on top. I like to close that again, and then we would begin our service. But what I'm going to show you right now, like I said, is the actual components to finish what things are doing to make it actually work. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take this panel off. Now, different models have doors similar, but they'll vary. But this one has 4 screws. I've removed all the screws except for this last one, just to speed it along. Okay, so we take this off. What do we have? Okay, well, this is called a capacitor, okay, or a booster, or a power pack. What it's doing is it charges, another way to explain it, actually, if you've ever had a stereo system in your car, like one that's just really going for it, well, they put capacitors in there, so every time that bass hits, it needs that extra power for that base hit, so your lights in your car don't go boom, you know, like that. This is the same thing. When that motor in here starts to move the refrigerant, the compressor, well, it takes a lot of power to get going. So the 220, this gives it a quick punch of power, and then isn't used again. The unit now will just run on the normal 220 amp draw that's needed to get it going. So this is extra power. Okay, so this right here, this black thing here, as you can see, now you know why I turned off the power. I'm over here touching everything. Now this does hold power. I'm not going to touch there because that would right now shock me. At any rate, so this right here is called a contactor. So what you have is you have 24 volts coming into it. So let's trace that together. Comes like this, comes down. Hey, look at this. As you can see, look at this. It's connected to thermostat wire. Well, this thermostat wire goes in to the furnace, and it's hooked up in there. And then the thermostat, it has a wire that it comes down to the furnace. And so at a junction, they all tie in. So this right here sends the 24 volt power, which therefore they call it, it's pulling the contactor in. It makes the connection, sucks it in through a coil in there, and allows the 220 power to start the compressor, the motor, and start the fan motor, because this is a 220 volt fan motor as well. And that's the components that make this thing work. Now, high efficient equipment, really high efficient equipment, it'll have an actual circuit board, computer board, that it does quite a few things. We're getting real fancy out there, as in it'll know temperatures, it'll know if it has bad airflow, things like that. Most of that is designed there, yes, for some efficiency, but the other thing it's designed for is to protect the equipment. And so that's in real high efficient equipment. So now you know the components. I'm going to get the door back on. Okay, what I like to do with cleaning it, and professionals do, cleaning, tune-up, the whole shebang to make it run great, is the components that I was showing you. One of them, the capacitor, we actually remove that. And once we get it in our hand, we carefully, with needle nose protective coating on it, anyway, we remove the wires, pull it out, and then we discharge it by taking an insulated screwdriver, and we basically just touch things and it gets rid of the power. Then we set it down, and we actually take a meter and we're testing what it actually puts out. And on them, it usually says on them what it should read, how many on this, how many on that. At any rate, those numbers, we use a meter to check that. If it's too low, it's failing, time to replace it. But we check that. And we also then check, is the contactor dirty or has what they call pitting, and that's black marks inside of it that we can check and say, ooh, this thing's been arcing or whatnot, and could be time maybe to change that. So we check all those things. But what I want you guys to do, okay, so that we do as well, is mainly rinse the coil off, and then you can actually rinse inside here. Just let the water run. On the air conditioners, underneath of them, they all have little holes. It's made so even when it rains, you know, the water's going to go out there. Well, now we're just kind of rinsing the inside of it. Now, I, the professional, will actually remove this when needed. We could see if there's dirt or leaves or whatnot inside there. We'd remove this very carefully, and it's connected with wires, obviously, so we have to be careful. Sometimes a helper is holding that, and then we reach in and literally clean everything out and then carefully put that back. But you'll be just rinsing and then rinsing. If it's real bad, it is a good idea to have a professional come out and really get in there. But if you're confident with yourself, you can pull that and manually take out the leaves, dirt and whatnot, then rinse it out. Okay, so then I'm going to show you with the hose, and I got a hose out. I'm going to turn it on, and we're just going to show you how I like to do it, because I don't want to use like an attachment and just really go for it. You don't want these fins to get bent. That's how it needs to breathe through it, you know. So if it gets bent, well, now it's not going to breathe. So you don't want to be doing that. So it's at an angle, and I'm going to actually just do that really quick for you. Not even the whole thing, just a good example of the angle that I want to see, and just thumb on the hose. So let's do that really quick. Now I take that at an angle, and I'm just rinsing. The other thing about going down is if there's a little something stuck in there, a lot of times you can push it down. Again, not a bad idea. I would recommend it. No power, you know, you got it off. And so you go all the way around. After you're done with that, you don't need to go, oh, I gotta like totally let it dry. Don't go get your hair dryer and kidding. You can immediately start using it. These are built, the fact that rains on them, snows on them, they're built to be getting wet. And so you can, at this point, you got your water off, everything's ready to go. You've rinsed inside if needed, the whole shebang. You can now go ahead and put your power back in. And so that's as simple as how you took it out. Voila, you can go inside now, go to your thermostat, put it to cooling if it's not already there, and just put it to the temperature you want, and this thing will start right up. And so I really hope that this information was good for you. Again, like us, follow us, subscribe. I'm excited about doing these videos. I've got more coming. I want to provide everyone with as much information. We're going to be doing toilet rebuilds, faucet changes, faucet fixing, just numerous things. We're also going to try to make this even fun. Like I want to do even some cooking. I can cook, if you haven't noticed, right through here. I like to cook. So at any rate, we're going to do some fun things like that, some auto racing, I think. We're going to check out, I'm going to be interviewing people in trades, and even outside that, just a whole information of different subjects that I get excited about, but hopefully you would too. Maybe even some golfing, would like to check out some golf. Maybe I could even interview like a golf pro or something. I doubt I'll be able to interview Tiger Woods. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But at any rate, so stay tuned. We've got plenty more to come, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this. Everyone have a safe and happy summer.